Hi friends, in this video we're going to go ahead and play with some of the items that I got from the everyday bundle when I got my Cricut Maker 4. And I decided I was going to do a tote bag because I really wanted to try out this smart iron-on. It's basically iron-on or HTV vinyl that you can use without a mat on the Cricut. So, and I have not yet used this, so I'm excited to try it out. We have, these are the two colors that came in my bundle, this kind of greenish color and then a nice beige. I think I'm gonna do the beige. The green might be good for some Christmas projects or for St. Patrick's Day projects, but I think I'm just gonna stick with the brown for today. And I did get this tote with the bundle, but I noticed when I went to pull it out to use it, it says infusible ink compatible. And that got me thinking, maybe I want to save this to try an infusible ink project. So I'm going to go ahead and put this aside for now and not use this. But I do have this tote I got from Hobby Lobby. It, I believe, was $1.99. Yeah, $1.99 from Hobby Lobby. So we're gonna go ahead and use this tote. And what I'm going to do is, I get a lot of books from the library, me and my son, and I don't have a place to like always put them or carry them. So I thought it'd be nice to have a bag that's strictly for library books that we can put them in when they're ready to go back. We can check them out and have something to carry them in. So it'd be a nice little kind of storage spot for our library books. So let's get into Cricut Design Space and get our design so we can print it on our smart vinyl. Okay, before we get into Cricut Design Space, I'm going to do a quick measurement. We see that the bag itself is about 13.5. So what I do when I measure is I kind of just judge like where do I want the image. And I'm kind of seeing at 9. I don't want it any bigger than 9. It can be smaller than 9, but I don't want it bigger than 9 because I get too far over on the edges. And then going this way, I'm thinking don't want it really any bigger than 8. Probably more like 7, but we'll just say 8. So I kind of get like the biggest I would like to see it, 9 by 8. And then when we get into Cricut Design Space, we'll kind of, based on the image, go from there. Okay, here we are in Cricut Design Space. I'm going to start a new project and I'll just start with a blank canvas. I think Cricut has done a new update since I've last done one of these projects, so it's looking a little bit different to me, but that's okay. Okay, so I want it to be reading book theme, so I'm actually going to search bookish. I have looked a little bit ahead of time and found some cute things. I think the hardest part for me is always deciding what to pick for my image. This one is super cute with the little ghost, but I do want something that I can use year long, and I'm not sure if I want to use a little ghost year long. So I think I'm going to just choose this in my bookish era. I think that'll be really cute and my son won't be embarrassed carrying it. So we're going to go ahead and go with this one here. Okay, so my measurements showed that I kind of want my image within about a 8 by 9, so, or 9 by 8. So my width, I feel like I can go up to, let's see, let's try 8, and that makes the height 5.7. Let's see if we make this 8.5, that makes it 6. I think I will like that size on there. Okay, so there's not much I really need to do here, which is great. I'm only doing one color of vinyl, so I don't need to change any colors. It's not going to be pink, it's going to be brown. You don't have to change it up here to the actual color that you're going to be using if you're only using one color. But just for the sake of this video, that's pretty close. I'll just go ahead and do that. So this is what it'll remotely look like on my bag after I cut it. So now over here it's showing an exclamation mark, and the reason is my joy is selected. I did use my joy the other day, so that has been selected. So I definitely need to make sure I change this to the Cricut Maker 4, and then that exclamation mark went away. Okay, so it's pretty easy peasy. We got our image, we got the size that we need it to be, we got our Maker 4 selected, so let's pick or select Make. I am not going to save it, it's just the one image I haven't done anything to. And so here is the important part. I do not want to use my mat, I'm using my Smart iron-on. So we're going to do without mat. Okay, this shows our image on, not on our mat, I wanted to say that, but what it's going to look like on the vinyl. But I am doing iron-on or HTV, and we need to always make sure we mirror it. So let's hit mirror over here. It's telling us to make sure that the material size is 13 by 8, so we got that. And let's hit continue. I did turn on my Cricut Maker 4, so it's searching for the Maker 4. Here we go. And set base material. So now these are all grayed out because these need to be done on a mat, but we have already chosen without mat. So it's kind of making sure to force you to choose the right material. So here we have iron-on. Actually, it's shown all the Smart items. This kind of gives you an idea of what kind of Smart items that Cricut has. Okay, so we're doing the iron-on, and it's just regular heat transfer vinyl, so let's select that. Okay, so no tools in clamp A. I already have my fine point in clamp B. Load the material and press load. Let's go do that. Okay, now that I've taken the Smart vinyl out of the package, you can see that it's actually got kind of a glimmer, kind of a champagne color to it. So this is going to be really pretty. Still going to be very neutral on the cream bag, but I think it'll work really nice. So when we have HTV, we know that there's a plastic shiny side, and then there's a smooth matte side. So we need to make sure that the smooth matte side is always on top. So we know that it's going to roll in like this. You can see that it's very thick, which is why it doesn't need a mat, kind of serving as its own mat. So let's go ahead and line it up just like I do with a mat. And then we're going to hit load. And again, this is my first time doing this, so we're learning together. Wants to buckle, so we'll see how. They do have little things that you can set up onto your Cricut to kind of hold it. I don't have that, of course, yet. Oh, it went in crooked. Okay, let's try that again. Whew. Okay. I guess I need to let go of the roll. Okay, let's try it again. There we go. Don't try to hold the roll. Just let it go. Okay, as usual, it always makes sure it has enough material, which it does. Okay, so now it's saying go. Okay, it's done, so we're going to unload. And there it is. All right, let's get over to weed it. Okay, I cut my image off of the Smart Iron-On roll with my Cricut trimmer. And then I also trimmed this little extra piece off here. This can now be used on a mat, just like regular iron-on vinyl would be used. When you go into Cricut, you still want to choose the Smart Iron-On vinyl setting, but you're going to do it on a mat instead of matless, because obviously this cannot feed into the Cricut on its own. But it's still a great piece of scrap that can be used. So let's go ahead and put that aside. And I thought this was funny. I looked all over here trying to find, like, where does it say gold at? Or where's the color at? But then I finally realized when it was open, up here in tiny little print, it says gold. And then on the side here, I did find where it says gold in tiny little print. And this whole time I thought it was going to be like a beige, but it's this beautiful gold color, so even better. Okay, let's go ahead and weed this. When I weed iron-on, I go ahead and pull up one of the corners and then just start pulling. And iron-on is usually a lot easier to weed than regular vinyl, because it has this carrier sheet already on it. It holds it so well that when I pull on this vinyl, it's going to pull up really easily. But you still want to just monitor and make sure, especially those little items, don't get pulled off, or none of it gets ripped. I have had that happen with some iron-ons, probably a cheaper iron-on. This iron-on is actually pulling off very nicely. Making weeding very, very easy. Okay, and what I love about iron-on vinyl is it's not sticky, so we can just wad that up and throw it away. Now I need to go through, we got some pieces that didn't pull up, and then of course the insides of our letters. Basically pulling out everything that we don't want ironed down onto our tote. And this image is pretty basic, but as a rule, before I iron down anything, I like to just look over it, make sure I didn't miss anything, because anything that's on there will get ironed on. Sometimes I've had pieces like off to the side that got kind of cut off, and if you iron it on, it's going to be stuck on there or ironed on there. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. Because I mirrored it, this is the way it's going to go down. I've got a carrier sheet on top now, and we are ready to go. Okay, I have my heat press. This is the HTV Ront brand. Go ahead and turn it on. And while it's warming up, I'm going to go ahead and look on the computer and see what kind of settings I need for this project. I did a search for Cricut heat guide, and it brought me to this page on Cricut.com. Now I need to select, because I have the HTV Ront, that's okay. I'm going to choose the one that's kind of the closest to it, which I believe is just the Easy Press. It probably wouldn't matter between these two. And then the material I have is the Smart Iron-On, just the plain. It's not holographic or glitter or and the others. And then my base material is a canvas tote. So I believe this cotton canvas should work best, and I am using a pressing mat. So it tells me to preheat for 5 seconds, 340, 30 seconds, firm pressure, slowly remove liner when cool to touch. Okay, so that gives me a nice little guide of how to iron on my item. Of course, it does go into more detail here, and if this is your first time, it'd probably be good to kind of look through that. But right now I'm going to go back to my heat press. I'm going to set it at 340 and 30 seconds, and then we will be able to go ahead and finish our tote. Okay, we're going to go ahead and set our temp at 340 and set our time at 30 seconds, so it's already there. Okay, and then we'll let it finish heating up to that 340. I'll move this off to the side. I don't have a lot of space, unfortunately. So that's just going to go off to the side so we can focus on our tote here. Okay, so I do have the press, heat press underneath there. I got it nice and centered on it. I'm going to just remove any lint. I'll let that heat. Okay, that beep tells us that it's ready. So we're going to go ahead and do that 5-second pre-press. That should do it. And we get our image. We got the matte side we're going to lay down. And of course you could get real exact when you measure it, or you could eyeball it. Usually for my own things, I just do mostly eyeballing, but if I were to make this for somebody, or definitely if I was selling it, I would definitely do more than eyeball it, but I'll just do a little check. On the end of the H, we got a little over 2.5. And a little more, sorry, about 2.5. You could probably just slide it this way just a tad, and then 4 inches. This way I actually don't want it the same. I want it down a little further than from the top. So there we go. Okay, now this is sticky and sometimes it will stick down. And my first time using the Smart, and I'm seeing, I think because this is so thick, that it's not sticking down as well as my other iron-ons that I've done. But that's okay, because I'm just going to hold it, and then I'm actually going to put down a piece of Teflon paper that's heat resistant. And we're going to go ahead, put our heat press down. I think it's covering the whole thing. We're going to start it. It said firm pressure, so I'm just going to kind of hold it. This press does show like the amount of pounds of pressure. It's showing around 13, 14. That should be good. Not actually sure what firm pressure in pounds exactly is, but we will find out. Okay. Set that aside. Okay. And the heat guide did say cool touch peel, so we're gonna wait. Okay, it's cooler to the touch now. I'm going to start peeling, and I'm noticing I'm not really liking, it is sticking down, but I'm not really liking the way it's peeling up on that B. So I think I might add, yeah, and that star is coming up. So we're going to go ahead and add some more. Now, since it still has the protector on it and it's stuck down now, I'm not going to use that parchment paper so I can see more of where my heat press is going. And because it didn't get as much on that side, I'm just going to kind of concentrate a little bit more on that side. Should be good. And we're going to wait for it to cool off again. It's cool to the touch, and it's actually cooler than it was the first time. I think I tried to pull it up a little too soon. I've found sometimes with HTV, what I consider cool usually works, but I think in the case of smart iron-on, that may not be the case. So let's try it now. Start on this side. And I can see where I pulled it up earlier, it's a little bumpy, but it's now pulling up fine. That star looks a little, again, it's kind of bumpy, so I think it's because I tried to pull it up too soon, or maybe it just wasn't on enough, but that's okay. It's a little bumpy over here from where I pulled it. That isn't as stuck down as I would like it to be. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this back on. Definitely finding that this smart iron-on is a little bit more difficult to iron on, or maybe it's the canvas. So I'll have to try it again with like a t-shirt or something more cottony and see how it does with that. But in the meanwhile, let's go ahead and heat this up a little bit more and then let it cool down again and see if that does a little bit better. After letting it cool, I'm gonna pull it off. Make sure it seems like everything's down pretty good. So I don't feel like this did as well as some of the other iron-ons that I've done. But what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make another image to put on the back in the gold, just to try it again. And this time though, I'm going to do a couple things differently. First of all, I'm not gonna peel it at all until it's completely cooled down. Not even to the touch, but just completely cool down. And then I'm also going to put more pressure on it. So because it did say firm pressure, I'm going to put more pressure on it while I'm heating it. So I'm going to do all the same steps that I did before, and I'm going to do it off camera, and then we'll come back and see how it looks in the end. Okay, this is completely cooled down to the touch, so I'm going to go ahead and peel it off. And it is peeling better than the other one did, although I still seen some pulling up. So again, I don't know if this is the smart iron-on, if it's a canvas tote, if I'm doing something wrong. I do feel overall it's good. It's not something I'm going to wash, so I'm not as concerned about it. I'm going to remove the cover sheet, put Teflon on it, and maybe just put a little bit more heat on it to see how it does from that. So we'll just go ahead and start at 30 seconds. I'm not going to put as much pressure. Maybe slide a little. I know you're not supposed to, but just to maybe get it to smooth out. I'm not sure why those little parts aren't staying down. Okay. All let it cool again and we'll see those areas. Those areas that we're pulling up look like they are laying down better. Hopefully they stay that way. I do love that color. It's kind of just got a subtle metallic to it without being the stark gold. You can see in the light how it shines. Overall, I'm very happy with this bag. I think it's going to be really great for the library books. Okay guys, thanks for watching. We'll see how this does. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more. I will be doing some more videos from Cricut Maker 4 soon. Thanks. Bye.